All right, everyone, and welcome back with another Rate This Generation video. We are on Gen 5, the black and white games, which some say are the best games and probably the most in-depth, which I have to agree. I think it was a black and a white walkthrough. I think I did opposites, so I think I did like a white and then black 2, I think, walkthrough. And games are amazing. I just love the story. The stories are fantastic. They just continue that the Reshiram, Zekrom, like, made them very good legendaries, and I think probably some of the best legendaries that we have, just even based on the cards. The game itself just created that dynamic for them. All right, starting off with the Snivy B. I like this just because I used the Snivy line in my second walkthrough, I believe, and then I ended up using the Tepig line, I think, as my first, which honestly might shock people, is also a B for me. I don't think I liked the design as much as I thought I was going to. I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. It was just in that middle ground where I thought it was okay. The Oshawott line is going to be an A. I actually used them last, but just having Samurott as that Pokemon is just amazing. It reminds me a lot of the Swampert, kind of, with just a more edgy look to it. The movesets are fantastic for Samurott. I think there is Hisuian Samurott now. Again, just a very good starter. Probably would use it in every other future walkthrough that I had. Moving on. Good God, Patrat. No. I just never liked... Again, it's one of those beginning Pokemon where, like, a Sentret normal type, a Bidoof normal type, they kind of just stuck that in there. I feel like they kept that trend going in this game. For a normal type Pokemon that might shock people, I think if you watch my previous videos, I said this was going to be here. I love the Herdier line. I love Lillipup line. I think I use them in every run I've ever had. I actually think I use them to the end of the game for the most part. Just an all-around good Pokemon, good design. I think kind of gets lost a lot in this generation just because there's so much Pokemon that are so good. The Liepard line, it was another cat. I know a lot of people are like, well, that's kind of ridiculous, but just another cat Pokemon where they just, here's another one. You have Purugly, Meowth, all these other, here's another one. So Simisage was a Pansage, Pansear, Pampor. This line was okay because I think, one, the typing they gave you. So if you basically picked, say if I picked Seviper, or not Seviper, the Snivy line, and I needed a fire type, I think the Simisage, or is it Simisage? I always get these guys mixed up. I think Simisage is this Simisear. I always get them all mixed up. The names are too identical. But you can always get that as your fill-in Pokemon. I don't think I ever kept it till the end because there was always alternatives. So this Pokemon I read, I think it was a TikTok, I think it was like the Munna line, is actually, isn't it mentioned? I don't know if it's like Gen 1 or 2. Like, one of the random NPC encounters has these as, like, it was in a story. I have to find it. Decent Pokemon. I like the design. I get it. Again, I don't think I used it that much. I really wasn't into it that much as a Pokemon in the game, but as the cards came out, I actually kind of did like the cards. The Unfezant line, I could be C or B. All right, so if you get the other version of it where it's pink, it's a B. I think this one is just kind of blah to me. The design's kind of lost on me a little bit with how, like, plain it looks. But again, if you get the other, I think it's the female version or the male version, I can't remember. It looks so much better. It keeps that, like, pink hue. Zebstrika, love this Pokemon. I think that it was, honestly, I might put S-Class. I might change that from an A to an S-Class. Electric type, I think the design is great. They kept it simple. They didn't sell the electric, but they kept it where it's like, okay, here's your electric Pokemon. I use this the whole game. right up until the end. The Roggenrola line, never really used it, but I'll put it as a C for now. Maybe Gigalith could be a B just based on design. A Zubat ripoff. I know people are going to hate this. It's a Zubat ripoff. Okay? It's the same thing. You run into it endlessly. It's in caves. Love the design on... I can't ever pronounce Pokemon names. It's not Escavalier because that's a whole different Pokemon. Escadrille, I think, or something it is. Cool design. I literally put it on B, basically on design. I think I used it maybe a handful of times in the game. Audino gets lost on me. I think it's another Chansey ripoff because I think it's supposed to have the XP dump for it. So, like, if you fight it in most of even the newer games, it gets like a big giant XP boost. The Timber line. See, these are tough because I like it, but there's some things I don't. I'm going to put Timber as a C with Girder, but Conkeldurr I'll put as a B. I think based on design, I think that final tier evolution really pushes it over the edge. Coming from, is this Timpole? So this Pokemon I've been destroyed by in any of the runs I've had just based on its typing and everything. It can learn so much stuff. I rarely used it. I'll put it as a B, but the rest of its evolution line is probably a C. Just based on, again, I don't really use it. The design's kind of lost on me as a water-type Pokemon. Sawk and Throw is, in my opinion, a Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan ripoff. Now, I know they're not punching and kicking, but it's just the same thing. It's fighting type Pokemon that they split into two. You get in different versions of the game. Just based on the design, it's not that great. So moving on, I did not like the grass type Pokemon in this game that much. I feel like they had a decent amount actually introduced, I think. Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah, they're all really not that great. I feel like they kept the same trend where they just basically, here's an evolution line, here's a grass type. It's mediocre at its best. So this actually might shock people. This is a B. Bug types are not my thing, but just based on our Pokemon Emerald Rogue run through, in the game it has speed boost, and it was wiping my teams out. The rest of the line is, again, that bug type early game. Not my favorite Pokemon in the world, but usable. Again, grass types are lost on me. I can actually just add these all to the same. I'll even throw Maractus in there. It might be me hating grass types at this point in this game. I never used any of them. I don't even think I've caught any of these unless it was like by accident. Basculin, again, another lost water type where eventually it got Basculegion, I think, but that's later, so that might change the tier just based on that. The Krokorok line, I actually loved. I loved what they did with this. I think it's like, was it Dark Ground for its final evolution? And you can learn like Ground, Dark, Dragon. I think it was weak to Dragon, or you might be a Dragon. I'm not very sure, but the design is just fantastic. I love that they gave it 3 evolutions and then cut it short. The Darmanitan line. Okay, it's okay. I wasn't crazy about it. I think there was a lot of alternatives for a fire type in this game, and I didn't really use it. And I think this is just the same thing, but a different like form. Another Parasect maybe jump to it. Not my favorite. The Scraggy line I actually did like. I grew on me throughout the game. I think a decent type Pokemon. I think it had Moxie is the one I had, and it would wipe in the Elite Four eventually once it started building those the knockouts. Again, I think this was a lost opportunity. I get the whole... It almost looks like an Unknown with wings they gave. but I think the design's a little lost. Yonmask and Configarius. No, I think Runer. I can't. See, I cannot say any of these Pokemon's names. But the Yonmask line, I actually didn't like Yonmask that much, but I think the design for a ghost type is very good. I think they kept it simple again. They dumbed it down and said, hey, it's a sarcophagus it's spooky, sarcophagus, ghost type. I like it. Carcosa, A type for me. Love it for a water type. I think some people argued, I don't know if they really did, but some people might say it's a Blastoise kind of lookalike without the cannons. It's a turtle with a big shell and stands on 2 legs. Still loved it. Yeah, C probably. I really never used it. I think it was like Archeon or Archeon. Again, sorry if I'm butchering these names. I know what they are. It's just I don't know how to pronounce half of them. Garbodor. This is where I think Pokemon as a game, a series, a just overall Pokemon was like, gimmick. Here's another Grimer kind of knockoff with garbage. So C maybe. I could be a D. I think it's just funny, so I'll put it in the C. Zoroark, I think probably one of the most beloved Pokemon in this entire game. Cards are great. Pokemon's great. It has with the illusion where it's like it could be a different Pokemon. It can fool your opponent. All around great design. Hated the Chinchou line. Chinchou? I don't know if that's what that's even called. Minccino line. Gothitelle line. Gothorita. See, these are tough because I don't hate them. It's just they get lost on me. It's really what I use in the game a lot. Like I usually gung-hoed into the game and just was like, I'm using this. Because you know when you play a Pokemon game 9 times out of 10, you know what you want right away. This falls in that Mana line, I think. I don't hate it, don't love it. I did use it a couple times as I think it's a psychic type, and it really did hit pretty good, so I respect it. The Swanna line. I think it's Swanna. Another flying type that just kind of got lost on me. And here's another gimmick. Ice Cream. Ridiculous. I think for an ice type, they could have did better. The Deerling, Sawsbuck, maybe a C, rarely use it. Only reason it's a C is Sawsbuck's season looks fantastic. They killed that. Emolga. Now, if you've seen my Pokemon Emerald Rogue walkthroughs, Emolga ends up being my rival. That's my rival. Emolga in every run I've ever had ends up being my rival with Volt Switch. And I think it just, every time I mysteriously was getting far, an Emolga came over and killed at least 2 to 3 Pokemon. But another, in my opinion, Pikachu ripoff. I know it's not quite a rat, but it's an electrical rodent again, where they're like, here's another one. Here's Excavalier, Karrablast. Probably a D for Karrablast, C for this. Nah, I'll put it as a B. The design brought it up to a B. I'll argue a B for that. But I think this whole trade, again, this is where trading made the Pokemon, I believe. Like you got the other, I forgot the other thing's name. It looks like, kind of looks like a ninja. Amoonguss and Fungus. One of the funniest things I've ever seen designed. But again, is it a gimmick? They jammed a Pokeball on top of a mushroom. You could like it. I don't. Not my favorite. Same with, I think this is Frillish. Again, that's not my favorite. So, here's the argument. Remember the Love Disc back in, was Love Disc 3? Gen 3? A Lamoa Moa, if that's how you say it. This is where it should have been an evolution. Clear as day. Clear as day. Joltik. Didn't hate it as a bug electric type. I think they nailed that on the head. The design, the new cards that just came out, I think in this is Surging Sparks. And I don't know if it's Crown. No, it's not Crown. It's Stellar Crown. where it has its Terra type. The card's fantastic. I actually have it. This is gonna shock people. I love this Pokemon. I think it's Ferrothorn. I don't know why. I used it in the game. It had barbs on it naturally as an ability. But that steel typing, sneaking with the grass and the design, I personally loved it. I think it didn't even need an in-between evolution. That is perfect. Oh, now, I actually loved this evolution line. I think this is where some people thought it was a gimmick, I think, because like the gears and it's kind of but I think it nailed it on the head. So Tynamo. This is tough because I've never really used this all the way through. I'll put Tynamo as a D and maybe like that because it's just design. Oh, more aliens. I'll put the aliens on a C. I think they are in the story a little bit, but... And as everybody see my top 10, Chandelure is my number 2. This line nailed it for a ghost type. The shiny is perfect. It's everything I want in a Pokemon. They took, yes, a Chandelier, but they made it actually good as a ghost type. Just an all-around great Pokemon. I collect all of the cards, like every art that it has I'm currently trying to complete, and it's just perfect. Axew, probably an A. I love Axew. I love Haxorus. I love the design. I love what they did. I use it so much in the game. It's kind of insane. I've probably used it every run through for the most part, I think. Cubchoo, I like it. I think it's Ursaring with ice typing. Cryogonal, gimmicky, little snowflake ice type. So this is what I was talking about. So the Shelmet line, because I think if you trade, what was like Shelmet, Carablast, and like they evolve or something like that. Shelmet, it's again not my favorite. I think again it's confusing with the whole you have to trade this for this. Stunfisk is just stupid. I don't like it. It's the new one's even dumber. I think they just put it in the game as here's a magic card but can learn ground moves. I believe it's ground or rock. No, it's ground. Mienfoo, Mienshao, maybe a C. This for just on design. Druddigon, I'll put as a B. I was disappointed it did not have a pre-evolution. I don't know if a lot of people agree with me on that, but the pre-evolution would have been good for that. I think it would have actually made it higher on this list. Golurk, I'll put as A. I think, again, they nailed the look, the typing, the art, the cards when they came out. They didn't really get like a crazy amount of good like EX cards or anything, but there are fantastic cards as well. This is Bisharp. I'll put it as a C. I'll do a C, and I think that might change later because of a later generation Pokemon, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it, but you have to, I think it's in the newest game where you have to like beat like 20 groups or whatever it is, and it gives you that Pokemon or whatever. Bouffalant, another Tauros, well not another, but a Tauros ripoff, 100%. Braviary, this is the flying type I used in the game. I love the design. It looks fantastic. The evolutions are perfect. It did not need a middle evolution in my opinion. Absolutely nailed it on the head for a flying type. This can fall probably in the B range. I like this Pokemon. I like the concept. Very prehistoric kind of look, vulture look. I like it. It's not terrible. I think the design puts it at a B. Heatmore needed a pre-evolution. Another one of those. Here's just a single tier Pokemon with nothing attached to it. Needs a pre-evolution. Durant would have been a D if it wasn't for an Emerald Rogue run that I had. Typing is kind of lost on me. I think it's Steel Bug. Time 4 weak to fire. Pretty strong, but in my opinion, not very useful. Hydreigon, I can't say that. I love this Pokemon. Design again where they nailed it on the head. Just needed a 3-tier evolution. This is where Draudigan missed, where it had that. So Draudigan had a great design, but Hydreigon, if I'm saying that wrong, I'm sorry. It just carries with that 1, 2, 3, almost like a Dragonite, where it's like that Dragon type needs that 3-tier evolution, or at least a pre-evolution to it. Larvesta. Is this Larvesta? Yeah. Put that as a B, but its evolution as an A, based on design. Very cool design. It eventually gets that. What is it? I think in my game I played, it was like Iron whatever. I can't remember like half the names of these Pokemon just because I haven't played a lot of it. Great design though. So we are now moving in to the legendaries. Now I'm pretty sure my last video I had a Victini, so I think there was a Victini in that other video. I don't know if it was a mistake. I'll put that as an A. I like Victini. So this is going to be controversial, this part, I think, of the whole entire generation rating. These Pokemon really missed, in my opinion. I think they really tried to make the legendary, not dogs, because they're not all dogs, but the legendary 4-legged animals. I feel like they tried to stuff that again, and they just changed up the typing. Not my favorite. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Same with the Landorus, Thundurus, Tornadus. Was it cool? Yeah. Was it necessary to have kind of the same design with just different color schemes and slight change in, like, here I'm going to draw the same thing, but I'm going to make it look like this? Could have been better, in my opinion. Yes. Are they bad? No. They're still pretty cool. Because they have the other forms too, which I'm not doing. I mean, can you look at that form right there and just tell me you would like it? I don't think so. So the Reshiram Zekrom, perfect in every way, in my opinion. I think they nailed the design itself. In the game, in the story, they put it in the story appropriately, because a lot of legendaries sometimes just get thrown in a game and say, hey, you're automatically going to run into it because of this. The story made these two. Cards, if you collect cards, probably some of the best cards out there, and some of the arts they have are just ridiculous. Some of their tag team cards are just out of this world. Love that Pokemon. I can't say it enough. The Kyurem, we'll rate all of them because they are, in my opinion, pretty different. Normal Kyurem is like a B, I think again. I wasn't crazy. I feel like it could have been better in a design. I feel like that design kind of got lost. Once they added black and white Kyurem, I think that moves it up to an A, because now the designs look really cool. I feel like it's like like that perfect Pokemon fusion, instead of like, here we're just gonna make it a color, and then that's it. I think the fusion look to it looks awesome. I think they meshed really well. Keldeo, I think it's gonna fall into that well, there's different types of it, but that dog range again, where it's like, did you try to add something? Again, I have the card. There's a card. I think it's an Illustrator rare in Japanese. It's amazing. The card's fantastic, but I can't just base it on that. The game, I really, Meloetta might shock people. Hated it. I thought that was such a drop for a Pokemon as a legendary. It didn't work out for me. It just wasn't that great. I think they missed an opportunity to probably add something in there better. And last but not least, if you've watched my Emerald Road games, Genesect. probably was going to be a B, is now an A. Just based on the Emerald Rogue game, the amount of times I've used it in the legendary, well, not legendary, was it steel type? Yeah, it was in my steel type run that I used. It hits hard. I think again, it could be a B if I'm going on design, because I'm like, all right, they took an alien Pokemon again, where it's like it's not it's like a Deoxys. Is it a Pokemon, or is it, we call it a Pokemon and that is literally just an alien killing machine? It's really up to you. Let's review our tiers. So just looking at, and I'll squeeze this in a little because it is kind of big. S-Class, if you couldn't tell what I used in the game, it's this S-Class. It's really kind of what I use. This is like my party for the most part, with obviously some interchangeables from S to A. A is, I think, probably got a good amount in it. Again, we always fall into this BC range where it has a lot of just jammed in Pokemon where I'm like, some of these could really be moved up or down. Now, if I really wanted to, I could probably move Genesect, you know what? I'm going to move down to B. I think I'm going to do the B, and I think the reason is it's the typing and it being just that alien, let's make it a Deoxys, kind of out of this world Pokemon. Down to C and D. That's basically what I feel of those Pokemon. I feel like a lot of it is just lost designs. I feel like some of it's very gimmicky. There's a lot of gimmicks. There's the ice cream. They got more flying types that really no one used. I mean, in my opinion, no one used unless you really wanted to, or you like the Pokemon, which is totally fine. Again, these are totally based on opinions. So do not like, oh my God, this is terrible. That's okay. I can take the criticism. So let me know what you think. And if you would move some of these Pokemon up or down. And we will be doing Gen 6 next. We're starting to get to the end here. And I think we do have a new Pokemon, not new Pokemon game coming out. I think it's soon? March? I have no idea. I know there's a new set coming out for the Evolutions Prismatic. I think the Evolutions, I think Scarlet Violet set. But again, thank you guys for watching. And I will see you next time.